I am not a musician or recording artist, but I still love microphones. Over 10 years ago, I had a Rode Podcaster. That was a USB mic that I regularly used. I never appreciated its voicing and sold it a few years later, and I regret that decision. Over the last decade, I've accumulated over a dozen microphones of various designs and price tags. From the generic USB mics from China to several of Rode's NT series, to the Neumann TLM 103, to a few mics from Warm Audio, I've gone down the microphone rabbit hole. So when I saw that Austrian Audio had the OC818, I immediately wanted to give it a try. I contacted Austrian Audio and they let me borrow the 818. This microphone costs $1,250. It's a jaw-dropping price for a mic. The 818 is a multi-pattern dual-output condenser microphone. You can select between 4 polar patterns, 2 pad settings, and 3 high-pass filters. Austrian Audio created software for the 818 as well. It's a DAW plugin called Stereo Creator and Polar Designer. Polar Designer will allow you to create your own polar pattern for the microphone, which is an amazingly unique feature. Austrian Audio has a mobile application for the 818. If you buy the optional wireless module for this mic, the mobile app can communicate with it. You can then control the analog patterns, high pass, and pad settings through that app. Austrian Audio says that they rigorously test each microphone to ensure they are matched to within 1 decibel of each other. The reason we are given is that Austrian Audio wants you to be able to use 2 or more 818s without concern over different voicings. I mentioned the dual mode output. The 818 has 2 capsules back to back. If you have a podcast type setup with a guest sitting opposite you, you can simply switch the 818 to dual mode. Now both you and your guest have a mic. The dual output is in reality a dual output. The standard XLR connection will be used to record the front capsule. The 818 has a mini XLR output on the back to record the rear capsule. This keeps the signals separated. The capsules are Austrian Audio's in-house design. It's proprietary. They call it the CKR12. The circuitry inside the mic is also custom in-house. The marketing says that the 818 is designed for vocals, acoustic guitar, piano, drum overhead, strings, brass, percussion, and room capture. The mic has a native maximum SPL of 148 decibels, which means you can record in fairly loud environments. And you still have the 10 and 20 dB pads, so theoretically you could record instruments that are louder than 148 decibels. As for build, the 818 is impeccably constructed. I rarely talk about my personal preferences, but I can't help but mention how attractive this mic is. Each 818 is handmade in Austria. It's got a light champagne color, a sturdy construction, and robust switches for selecting polar patterns and the like. I thought the mic would be heavy, but it weighs less than a pound. The mic comes in a protective hardshell case. Inside the case you'll find a foam windshield, a mic clip, a mini XLR cable, and a spider mount. The foam windshield is thick. I've used several cheap varieties, and the one Austrian Audio includes is as good as I've tried anywhere else. I mean, it's a foam windshield. There's no magic involved. The spider mount is robust. It's suited for the 818. However, you can use alternative mounts if you want. For example, a Rycote InVision mount will hold the 818. Overall, the 818 is a beautiful product. It has a plethora of features, some that we see in many cheaper microphones, but also some very unique features that I can't find in any other product. The 818 is built very well. Though this is not as chunky or heavy as you might want it to be, it is also not a flimsy microphone. Don't drop it and you'll get many years of use out of it. The accessories Austrian Audio packaged with the 818 are perfectly agreeable. There's nothing wrong with anything they put inside the carrying case. I appreciate Austrian Audio including a mini XLR cable. Remember, this is used to connect the rear capsule. Austrian Audio says in the manual that you should use only their recommended mini XLR cable, and I'm happy to see that they don't force us to buy it separately. The standard XLR cable would have been nice to have in the box. This is nitpicking, but since Austrian Audio provides nearly everything else, I think they should have also thrown in a 6-foot XLR cable. Yeah, if you're buying a nearly $1,300 microphone, you probably have an XLR cable lying around. Still, it just seems odd not to have been included. Austrian Audio has measurements for the 818. If you scroll to the bottom of their webpage, you'll see how the mic is voiced. You can select among the 4 analog polar patterns and see how the measurements pan out. I've been using the 818 for about 2 months. Every video I've uploaded in that period has included a voiceover recorded through this microphone. I've kept the polar pattern in cardioid, used the included spider mount and windshield. I've used my Zoom H6 and recorded into Audacity. I've never once applied any filters or effects in post. I've never had to apply noise reduction. Every single recording I've made on the 818 has been clean in and out. The only adjustments I've made is, on some recordings, added a few decibels of gain. In fact, this recording is made with the 818. As I said earlier in the video, I'm not a musician or a professional recording artist. I don't even pay for a DAW, but I have sufficient experience with using microphones to know what works for me. It has been a learning experience to find the correct mic for my voice, room environment, and recording methodology. In other words, I want my voice to sound reasonably clear. I don't want the mic picking up spurious noises from my computer or other room sounds, and I put in very little extra work in post-production. You could reasonably argue that I should just use a cheap USB mic since I'm not putting in any effort, and that's true enough. In my experience, I would say that the 818 seems to capture my voice fairly accurately. The other day, I was trying to figure out how to explain what I hear in my recordings through this mic, and the only word that I came to mind is crisp. I think the 818 makes my recordings clear and crisp. Thankfully, I don't hear any emphasis of sibilance in my voice. One thing I do tend to miss, however, is a warm, bassy sound. I wish I had the timbre of James Earl Jones, but I'm thankful I'm not Justin Bieber. I'm probably fairly average as far as my voice is concerned. Some microphones do tend to add some bass and warmth to my voice. This includes the Rode NT1, Warm Audio WA14, WA47, and the WA251, among other microphones. Some mics push vocal grain and make my voice sound a little bit too harsh, such as with some of the cheaper Blue microphones and the Rode NT USB. You'll have to tell me if you hear something different, but I think the 818 doesn't add warmth and it doesn't add harshness. In other words, while I don't get a bassy, warm sound signature from the 818, neither do I get a harsh, grainy recording. And remember, I'm not doing anything to the recording in post-production. The only post-production I do is, frankly, export. If you're a recording artist, then you really should watch and read other reviews by experts in this field. There are several who have reviewed the 818. But if you want my opinion, I think the 818 carries Austrian Audio's house sound. It's clear and detailed. It's unique to my ears. As I stated previously, the 818 has a few companion applications. The desktop versions are plugins for your DAW. Depending on the plugin you use, you can create your own custom polar pattern, record a room feel using Ambi Creator plugin, which theoretically would record a 3D sound of your environment, or fine-tune the dual output modes using Stereo Creator. Austrian Audio has tutorials on these plugins. Go to YouTube and search for this software, or go directly to Austrian Audio's YouTube page to find the relevant videos. Then there's the OC818 Bluetooth dongle. This little gem connects to the mini XLR jack on the 818. The OC818 is an additional $180. Through it, you can control the 818 wirelessly with your mobile device. You'll need to download the Austrian Audio Polar Pilot app for iOS or Android. The OC818 is powered by the microphone's phantom power. There's no battery you need to charge or replace. However, this also requires your mic to be connected to an interface that has phantom power, and most do. The Polar Pilot app lets you control the polar pattern, and in unique Austrian Audio fashion, you can select among 255 different polar settings. These are variations you can see as you manipulate the polar patterns in the app. You can also control the high-pass filter and pad settings. Again, Austrian Audio has a helpful video tutorial explaining exactly how to use the app and the wireless dongle. In my view, these features, the plugins and the wireless modules, make the 818 stand out. If you record voiceovers, then these features may not matter to you. If you do work in a studio, then the 818's plugins and wireless capabilities might be quite useful. Look, I love the 818. One day I want to buy it. I don't know if I'll need the wireless module, but the mic is definitely on my list of things I want to have. It was a pleasure to use the 818 for the last 2 months. It's a reliable workhorse, I think. There's so much packed into the 818 that it's impossible to claim that this is not unique. Austrian Audio again has done something so unique, so different, that you'll struggle to find an alternative mic that has the features of the 818. Of course, you don't need any of this. You don't need multiple plugins, you don't need 255 polar patterns, you don't need dual mode output, you don't need handmade products from Austria. This brings us to value. At nearly $1,300, it's really hard to say that the 818 is value. It's not. It's not value for the typical person. Casual podcasters, YouTubers like me, and musicians or recording artists on a budget cannot justify the 818. We have lots of good options that are far, far cheaper. After all, the primary goal is to record what we like. Once we get money, we can start thinking about putting bling and icing on our recordings. But the 818 is more than just bling. It's more than a gold-plated Leica camera, for example. The 818 has features that professionals can use. The plugins are designed to be used in studios. So while the typical person cannot justify the 818, I think financially stable professionals probably can. I'm not suggesting that Austrian Audio has aimed the 818 at the YouTuber or casual podcaster. They haven't. So while the microphone is not value for us mere amateurs, for professionals, I think the story is a little different. You'll have to get impressions from pros who have reviewed this mic, but I think you'll find that most of them agree that the 818 is a feature-rich tool worth the money. One day, I would love to buy the 818. I don't need it, but I also don't need another headphone. Having used the 818, I can say without a doubt that it is completely overkill for me, and I still want it.